kind of an empire that he's going to talk about it. And if you wouldn't mind giving him a round of applause.
Really an honor and a privilege to take over Domino's. They were in third position. They really had, as you can see, very poor consumer awareness, and sales were very, very bad. We did something that really completely went against pop culture and the ideas of traditional marketing. You should never criticize your brand. You should never really beat up your product. Make a long story short, consumer awareness went up dramatically, but what's most impressive was sales were up 50% and have been sustaining. In fact, 2 weeks ago they had their best week in the company's history, and the stock price is up 60% since we launched the campaign. When we took over Burger King in 2003 had 8% same-store sales decline. In 2002 they had 6% same-store sales decline. For 5 years, they had double-digit growth each and every quarter. If you were to ask David Bonnerman from Texas Pacific, he would have said that the reason for the IPO equity value going up by $2 billion from what they paid was attributable to the marketing of what we did. BMW Mini was the most successful new car launch in American history. They never had any marketing dollars to go on television, so we decided to mount Minis on the cabs of Ford Expeditions, drive them around cities. We mounted them on billboards. We put them in shopping centers and made rides out of them. We mounted them in seats in stadiums, in football stadiums around the country. As a result of that, we got all kinds of free publicity, and really in 2004, that was really the beginning of viral marketing. We probably came out with the most provocative viral marketing campaign, which really changed marketing, and that was in January of 2004. We launched something called Subservient Chicken, which was this funny little campaign. When we brought it up to Burger King's attention, they thought a viral marketing campaign was a sexually transmitted disease. Nobody really understood what it was. We launched this thing. It cost $40,000. They didn't want to do that. They said, we want to do a television campaign. In the first day we had 1 million hits. First week we had 10 million hits. We've had 1.6 billion hits since. So our whole concept at MDC was to challenge conventional wisdom, to think like an insurgent, not like an incumbent, and to really look at the world on a media agnostic basis, that the world was not made up of television commercials with some add-on expertise. I started my business on Thursday, April 11th, 1980. Yesterday was our 30th anniversary. Had a lot more hair back then. Finished my first year in marketing in the undergraduate business program at York University. It's what I call a reverse family enterprise. First 2 people I hired were my parents. I was a photographer as a kid, took pictures at summer camp, got into photography, and then over time I evolved into marketing. And we went public on Friday, October the 16th of '87, the day before Black Monday. As the size of the business was 2.1 million in revenue, and we had 106,000 of pre-tax profits. At the same time that WPP went public through a reverse takeover, we did the same. Jay actually was my lawyer at the time. We did a reverse takeover of a shell called Brandbury Explorations Limited. There's a great expression: if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. And so we have, I guess if that's the case, we've enjoyed a lot of adversity over the years. The concept that we had was one where we thought of what we call the perpetual partnership. That if we could partner in human capital businesses whose assets went up and down the elevator, we could go back to the roots of what made this industry great. It's about a $600 billion industry globally, $300 billion in the United States. Our principal focus has been in North America. About 95% of our business is in North America, of which 85% of that is US. Our big break came in 2001. We invested in a firm called Crispin, Porter & Bogusky, and they were a small little agency in Coconut Grove, Florida, and they had just done the Truth campaign, which I thought was the greatest advertising I'd ever seen. When they launched that, it became the most successful social marketing campaign ever. There was a 26% decline in cigarette smoking amongst teenagers after the launch of that. They then got BMW Mini. We really won the lottery at that point in time. the business went from 40 employees, 12 million in revenue, $1.8 million of EBITDA last year. Now they have 1,100 employees. They're in Boulder, Colorado, Coconut Grove. They're now in Sweden. They're in London, and they're in Spain. They were just voted Agency of the Decade, and they're probably the most successful agency over the last century financially. From that, we had in 2001, like most entrepreneurs, I was your typical serial entrepreneur. I invested in all kinds of other businesses. We were in security printing, we were including check printing and stamps, tickets and cards. We were in the business of catalog shopping. So in 2001, we owed $900 million. And as my friend Seymour Schulich, who's the founder of Franco-Nevada, Euro-Nevada, and the largest individual shareholder of Newmont, said to me, I had one foot in the grave, one foot on a banana peel. So we did an income trust, and we sold off all of our other non-core businesses. We decided we would become a pure play in marketing and advertising services. And as a result of that, we became a pure play. We paid down our debt. Our net debt today is about $175 million. So we've generated, both through asset sales as well as through free cash flow, about $750 million. We actually generated more free cash in the last 2 years than we did in the previous 20. And our principal focus, when we said we had this idea about being partners with management teams, everybody thought we were crazy. They said you should own 100% of these businesses. And we said, in a business whose assets go up and down the elevator, we think that people have to have both emotional and financial ownership in the business. And so we believe that what differentiated one firm from another was talent, people in terms of great ideas, etc. And so as Crispin became more and more famous, I had a very simple idea. I said if they could, every time they were mentioned in an article, if they could just say they were an MDC partner firm, we would have what I call credibility by association. So we thought that we stood taller by standing on the shoulders of giants, and they were brilliant thought leaders who became world recognized. So over time, people sort of said, by the way, who is this company, MDC? And so over time, as they became more famous, we then redeployed capital and we acquired other businesses. And we were smart enough to take the intellectual capital of the partners, of Chuck Porter and Alex Bogusky and people like that, and brought them into MDC so that we were more than just a financial holding company. Our competitors are people like Omnicom and Interpublic and WPP and Havas and Publicis. So what we figured out is we couldn't be bigger than them. So what we had to do was be more nimble, more agile, as Bear Bryant said, nimble, agile, hostile. And what we figured out is that if we could acquire the most talented people, we could change our on-field performance. If you haven't read the book Moneyball, it's a very good book. It's an older book, but it's actually it resonates very well. So what we realized is that business is about two things, in my opinion. One is about understanding the probabilities of outcome, and two, taking steps to increase the probability of a successful outcome. So what we realized is if you could have LeBron James playing on your team, you'd probably do a little bit better than you would if you didn't, or if you had Sidney Crosby, or if you had Alex Rodriguez, etc. So we made a list of 200 of the very top people in the world in our industry. And we tried to find people that had what I would call latent entrepreneurial tendencies, who had, I coined a phrase called IDEA, people who had an infinite desire for epic entrepreneurial accomplishment. They were usually between the ages of like 36 and 45 years of age, and they wanted to do something entrepreneurial. They had a great career of somewhere between 15 and 20 years in the industry, and they were looking for a place where they could become rich and famous. And we said that's what MDC wants to be. We want to be the place where great talent lives. So we kept saying it over and over and over and over again, and over a period of probably, MDC's an overnight success story. It took 25 years to develop in the last 5 years to get any kind of recognition. And really, it's only in the last 2 or 3 years where it's really come to fruition. What happened was a few things fell our way. One was clients figured out that how many people, how many services, how many offices, and how many countries was irrelevant. The only thing that was relevant was the ability to come up with fresh thinking and new ideas that would drive return on marketing investment. So in our strategy was really simple. If the big guys are going that way, we should go this way. We should go completely opposite where everybody else was going. So we didn't get into media buying. We didn't go to Asia. We didn't go to Latin America. We didn't go to Eastern Europe. We stayed right here in America. And for us, it's worked out exceedingly well. what we realized is one incremental piece of Microsoft is bigger than most agencies are in China. And they have real rules, they have laws here, you can get paid, collect your money, put the cash in the JP Morgan Chase account. You know, life is terrific. Thank you very much for your time.